sees that some terrorists are in a battle of bullets with the police. If he sees a man holding a hostage, as he tells the police that he would kill the hostages if the policemen shoot, but a policeman tells him that he should surrender as they would give him a chance to live if he does that. Meanwhile, 10 minutes earlier, Rossetti tells Captain Go and her team about their plan to capture Victor, and as they go with the plan, Rossetti tries to use the wire to kill Victor, but he tells them that the tactics they used against Wangdo would not work for him. Then he immediately uses the newest model of the nano-armor. Rossetti sees this and she asks him how it is possible for him to use the armor. Then Victor tells them that he is going to try the 20% of the armor's power. As Victor uses the power to hit one of the men, Rossetti sees that the power of the nano-armor is fast and very effective. Then Victor sees that one of Rossetti's team member tries to kill him with a gun, but as the man sees that the bullet does not have any effect on Victor, he begins to wonder why it is so, but Victor immediately increases his power to 30% and he uses his fist to hit the man, which makes a great effect. Victor hits the man hard and he falls to the floor. Then Medici immediately runs to attack Victor as he has defeated everyone else, but Medici tells him that even though she is the one left to fight him, she would fight him till her last breath. At the fourth story, Miffy sees that there are a lot of people that are being held hostage and he begins to contemplate whether he should save them, if he should ignore the situation and continue his peaceful and ordinary lifestyle. Then he also tries to persuade himself as he notices that there are security cameras everywhere and the criminals are armed, so in order to protect his identity, he ignores the criminals and decides to call Xiao Yao. As Yifei calls Xiao Yao's phone to tell her that they have to leave as it is dangerous in Kiev, but Victor picks the phone and calls him the Golden Eagle and tells him that he should come to the 8th story if he wants to save his friends, and he also tells Yifei that if he should come and see him to meet up with his old friend. Yifei then remembers what they had taught him in his training, that he has to remember his duties no matter where he finds himself. Medici becomes shocked as she learns that the Golden Eagle is close. Then Victor asks her why she has been after him to capture him, and she tells him that he had launched an attack on Flower City which claimed the life of her girlfriend, and she vowed to bring him to justice, but Victor tells her that he is going to send her to where her girlfriend is. As Victor is about to hit Mercedes, Captain Gu immediately shoots at him in order to stop him, but Victor immediately throws Medici at Captain Gu. Then the two of them falls and Captain Gu mistakenly touched Mercedes' chest and he realizes that she is a female. Mercedes immediately tells Captain Gu that if they want to defeat Victor they have to work in hand with the Golden Eagle, but Victor tells them that they do not stand a chance with him. At the Dinoco's trafficking port, the men begin to pack some goods and a man comes to tell the man in charge that their intel has told them that the Golden Eagle is in the city and they think he might be involved in the operation against Victor. Victor tells Mercedes and Captain Gu that in the ranking of warlords Golden Eagle is ranked 43rd while he is ranked as 9th on the list, which means that they do not stand a chance in defeating him. Captain Gu tells Mercedes that they cannot give up so early. Then he stands in front of Victor and tells him that as soldiers that they are not meant to give up, but Victor insults Captain Gu with his father and all of the other soldiers. Captain Gu becomes furious and he uses a step to attack Victor with all of his strength, but he notices that Victor does not have any scratch on his body. Meanwhile, at the fort floor, the policemen and the criminals continue their gun battle, but the criminals begin to put more pressure on the police, but the criminals immediately use a smoke bomb so that the police would not be able to see them and the hostages. Suddenly, one of the criminals sees Dwaif and he asks who he is, but Dwaif immediately beats him up with the jacket of his suit. Then Dwaif counts all of the criminals and he tells them that he has to clear 10 pieces of trash in total. Dwaif begins to remember how he has saved a lot of people, but he asks himself if what he has done so far is worth it, as some of the people he has saved have turned into bad people and turned against their own. Then he also remembers the oath they had swore to protect the country. As the criminals begin to shoot at Dwaif, he immediately uses the dead body of one of the criminals that he has defeated to protect himself from the bullets. Dwaif beats up all the criminals and he saves all the hostages. Then he asks the head of the criminals the fastest way to the 8th floor, but after Dwaif had left, the policeman sees that the hostages are getting free and they begin to think that the criminals are fighting amongst themselves, and after the smoke is cleared, they see that the head of the criminals is tied down while on his knees. Captain Gu continues to fight with Victor and soon Victor begins to feel that Captain Gu's attacks are very strong, but he suddenly notices that Captain Gu has a cybernetic right arm. Captain Gu suddenly remembers that he had his right arm amputated 2 years back because he had been hit by a self-made bomb which causes him to lose his right hand. Then he had told the doctor to conceal his predicament as he still wants to continue to be a police officer. Captain Gu immediately uses his cybernetic right arm to hit Victor as he is very determined to defeat him. Mercedes tells Captain Gu that she would help him if they plan their strategy well and when they attack Victor. Captain Gu does not follow the plan, which makes Mercedes ask him why, but he tells her that she cannot be able to do it as she is A, and she communicates with Superintendent Wang that she has gotten to the entrance of the 8th story, but Mr. Wang tells her that the high-level fight that is going on at the 8th story is not meant for her, but she tells him that she has heard him and she would hurry to go to the 8th story. Lin Jing drops the call and she immediately rushes to go to the 8th story in order to go and save the people there. Victor continues to beat up Captain Gu and he also insults him and all the soldiers of Hoja. Then Victor suddenly throws Captain Gu against the wall and he asks Mère Desi if she saw the way he has defeated Captain Gu. Mère Desi immediately kneels as she has seen the difference between an A-ranked level and an S-ranked level, but as she kneels, Captain Gu gets up again and he tells Victor that he should take back all what he had said about him and the soldiers of Hoja or else he would slaughter him. Victor moves closer to Captain Gu, but as he begins to hit him, Captain Gu still tells him to take back all the insults he had said to him. Then he also tells Victor that his father has been a righteous man all his life and he has inherited his character as he cannot watch the weak being bullied by the evil, and that made him join the police force. He also tells Victor that even though he has lost his right arm, he still has his prosthetic arm and he can continue to be a policeman as he would continue to protect the weak and make sure he eliminates the evil. Captain Gu then remembers as his doctor had told him that if his prosthetic arm is damaged, it could lead to his death as it is connected to his nervous system. Then Victor begins to bend Captain Gu's arm and he tells him that he would release him as long as he barks like a dog, but as Captain Gu begins to yell in pain, he tells himself that a policeman must be ready to give up his life. Suddenly, Lin Jing comes in and she tells Victor to raise his hands up as she is an officer. Lin Jing tells Victor that he should release Captain Gu and turn around slowly, but Victor does not answer her, but instead, he calls her a piece of trash. Then Lin Jing goes closer and Victor immediately punches her. Lin Jing stands up, but as she tries to attack him again, Victor hits her harder, and when she falls, Rossetti tells her that she should retreat, but she does not listen. Then Captain Gu also yells at her that she should not be stubborn. Lin Jing does not listen to them and she grabs Victor's hand and tells him to stop hitting Captain Gu, but Victor hits her more as she remembers what her father has always told her about being a brave policewoman. Victor counts all of the girls and he tells them that he has never had fun with 4 girls before, but as he stretches his hand to pick Xiao Yao, Yifei yells from behind that he should stop. Yifei goes to meet Captain Gu and tells him that he had watched the fight between him and Victor. Then he commends his for his strong willpower and strength, and Yifei also tells him that he should rest as he would take care of the rest for him. Victor immediately tries to hit Yifei. Yifei asks him why his face looks familiar to him. Lefi dodges Victor's punch. Then Victor asks him if he remembers who he is, but Yifei begins to guess different names and places he had met them. Then Victor tells him that he is forgetful as the rumors say. Victor tells Yifei that he would make him remember, and immediately he increases the power of his nano armor to 100%, but as he attacks Yifei, Yifei dodges the attacks and Victor tells him that his punches are too weak as his punches are supposed to hit as hard as his own. They continue to fight and Victor begins to make fun of Yifei's moves as he tells him that he is slow in retaliation, and it is just like he had told Captain Gu that all Hoaxia soldiers are pieces of trash. But at a point, Yifei hits Victor and he moves back. Then as Victor tries to move towards Lefi to continue to hit him, Victor notices that he could not move very well as his body is having a tingling sensation. Victor looks at Yifei and he immediately faces down while Yifei begins to wonder why he is behaving like that. Then Victor tells himself that he does not understand why he is suddenly afraid of Yifei. Suddenly Victor increases the Cyclops power of the nano armor to 200%. At the Yuyang Trading Company, Ningying gets to her office and she sees that her teacup has broken on its own. Then when she tries to sit, her dress rips on its own and she says to herself that it is a bad omen, and she suddenly receives a call from Director Zhao about Lai Yifei. Victor suddenly increases the nano power to 200% and Yifei tells him that he would also show him few tricks. Then Yifei dashes towards Victor and immediately gives him a punch, but Victor tells him that his nano armor can regenerate itself, so Yifei's attack has no effect on him. Yifei begins to hit Victor with his palms and Victor notices that the armor regeneration begins to reduce. Then he begins to wonder the kind of kung fu that Yifei is using to attack him. Victor begins to yell that his nano armor is getting damaged by Yifei, but as he continues to wonder why his armor is not regenerating, Yifei tells him that he has been trained in some hard qigong and he has used the inner strength palm, and the shockwaves send his nanoparticles flying, which makes it easier for him to be able to defeat him. Victor then asks Yifei why he has lost to him, and Yifei explains to him that after they did the ranking, he had beaten up the person who came up with the list and his ranking had not moved since he had instructed the person not to place his rank in the list. After beating up Victor, Yifei suddenly meets Brother who has rediscovered himself and his confidence in his muscles, but immediately Brother Mu sides to Yifei. He becomes scared. Brother Hu immediately runs to a corner and Yifei thanks him for showing him the way out, but he immediately asks Yifei if he remembers him, but Yifei begins to mention names of different people, and as Brother Hu sees that he could not remember him, he decides to test his muscles on Yifei. Brother Hu tried to punch Yifei, but he immediately defeats him, and he remembers that he is Brother Hu that he had defeated in Yi City. Few minutes later outside the cave, the police is gathered with their vehicles and Yingying immediately sees Yifei and she tells him that Director Zhao had told her about him. Then Zhao immediately tells Yingying that they suspect that Yifei has stolen fee items from the warehouse and he has called the police to come and arrest Yifei. Suddenly, Lin Jane comes to arrest Director Zhao, and when he asks why they are arresting him instead of Yifei, she shows him the phone they found with a recording of his voice as he instructed some men to go and steal the items in the warehouse. Lin Jane begins to wonder if all what had happened is all according to Yifei's plan, and she begins to call in a mysterious hero in her mind. Su Yingying thanks Yifei for helping the company to pick out the bad people, then she asks him if he would be interested in working in the administration department, but as he begins to think about it, he suddenly sees Xiao Yao and Su Yi, and as they come to hug him, Su Yi begins to thank him and she also tells him that she has no money to pay him, so she would use her body to pay him back. Bai Fai begins to wonder if Yingying would not misunderstand what is happening, as she is supposed to understand him better than anyone else, but as he is about to talk to Yingying, Xiao Yao removes her underwear and puts it on his head as she tells him that it is her gift to him for saving her life. Yingying immediately tells Yifei that he belongs to the logistics department and he tries to explain to her, but she does not listen to him. Xiao Yao tells him that if he is not satisfied with her little gift, she has a lot of her scented underwears in a bag. Lin Jing immediately begins to yell at Yifei for being a pervert, then Xiao Yao asks him if he does not like it as the boys in her class fight for her underwear, but Yifei explains to her why men have the desire to like something like that. Lin Jing begins to run after Yifei as she calls him a pervert, but as he escapes her, Yifei notices that there is someone behind him, and as he turns to look, he sees that it is Mercedes the Red Fox. Then she thanks him for saving her and her teammates in the fight with Victor, and she tells him to be careful as she has learned that the European Green Palms gang is looking for him. A man comes to report to Zhang's that all the drugs have been transported to the boat, and another man comes to tell him that they have to tell Brother Hu that he should be careful as drugs are banned from Hoaxia. They try to call Brother Hu, but his phone is off. Then Shanzi sees a man and tells him that if he is looking for the Golden Eagle, Victor would have finished him off, but the man tells him that he has gotten a report that Victor lost to the Golden Eagle, and he knows that the Golden Eagle is not that weak as he was once his brother. A woman who has been elected to the company as the new executive, she is known as Executive Yi Fangchen, and she begins to tell herself that she wants to start a new life with a new job, that she is only accountable to Exu Yingying. As Fangchen enters the elevator, she greets Yingying and she suddenly sees Yifei, who she had a nightstand with after helping her at the bar. Yifei begins to remember all what had happened that night in the hotel, and as she stays in front of him, he cannot control himself. Fangchen tells herself that she has to be cool as she thinks Yifei is a gentleman because he had left the morning after their meeting, but she suddenly feels that he is touching her. Later that night in his apartment, as Yifei undresses after thinking about how he would avoid trouble with Fangchen, he suddenly hears his doorbell ring and he sees that a package has been delivered to him. Then he begins to wonder who would deliver a package to him at that hour, but as he opens it, Shouying jumps out and she tells him to catch her. Meanwhile, a woman asks her informant if he has located the Golden Eagle. Then he tells her that he has seen him as the Golden Eagle is no longer in the military but he is residing in Yi City. Then the woman instructs one of her men that they have to head to Yi City. The following day, Shouying wakes up and she prepares breakfast for Yifei, but as he tasted, he nearly died as she had put in the wrong flavor of seasoning. Then he remembered that she had begged him the night before that she would do his housework for 2 months in order to pay her debts, and she had woke up to clean the whole house, but her cooking is bad. She begins to cry as she begs him that he should not send her away because she feels like she is a jinx to everyone around her, but as she kneels, she suddenly leans back and she ends up breaking Mifai's television. Meanwhile, at the port, Lin Jing begins to chase a thief, and as she captures him, she notices some men that are talking about killing Yifei. Then she begins to wonder if they are an international endangered animals smuggling group that have come to capture some of Washi's animals. As Lin Jing makes a move, they suddenly notice that someone is there, and one of the men immediately throws his knife and it hits the thief that Lin Jing had caught. Then the man tells the others that the person is dead as no one would be alive if they are hit by his knife. Lin Jing begins to thank her stars that she was not seen, but as the men leave in a car, she checks the number plate on the car and memorizes few of the numbers on it as the car is too far away for her to see the rest. Before going to work, Yifei notices that he has forgotten his phone, and as he tries to go and get it from his apartment, he notices that Su Yuri has taken the key so that she would go and duplicate it. Then Mifei tells himself that he would just pick the lock as he had learned it during his time in the military. But as he is about to pick the lock, Lin Jing suddenly attacks Yifei and accuses him of trying to break into someone else's house. If he tries to explain that it is his house but she does not listen to him, then they continue to drag each other, but Su Yuri comes in and misunderstands Yifei. As Yifei gets to the office, he remembers that Lin Jing had apologized to him and asked him if he saw any poaching car, but he tells her that he did not see any. Yifei also receives a message from Yingying that he should come and pick her up at her place in the night as they are going to a banquet together. In the night, Yifei goes to Yingying's house, and as he sees Yingying, he asks her what the banquet is about. Then she tells him that it is for Huasha's #1 beauty. When they arrive at the banquet, Yingying tells Yifei that his identity for that night is that he is her boyfriend and her bodyguard. Then when she asks him how her dress is, he tells her that she is looking gorgeous. Yifei then asks Yingying why he is acting like her boyfriend in the party, and she tells him that she is likely to drink and a lot of men would want to take advantage of her. But Yifei asks her why she had to attend. Then she also informs him that someone big is going to attend and it would be a great opportunity to meet the person on behalf of her company. When they enter the hall for the party, Yingying tells Yifei to calm down and not be nervous, but he begins to tell himself that he has been to numerous banquets than she can imagine. Yifei asks Yingying why some men are in special attire, but she tells him not to get into any trouble with them as they are hired bodyguards. Then one of the men calls Yingying and asks her why she did not answer Master's son when he incited her, but she immediately apologizes as she tells him that something came up. Then the man tells Yingying that if she sleeps with him for few nights, he would help her to talk to Master's son, but Yifei immediately warns him not to talk to her like that as he is her bodyguard. The man begins to insult bodyguards on Huasha, then some rank bodyguards come to shut him up, then he releases Yifei. Soon the two beauty in Huasha, Su Mengxin, comes out and Yifei tells himself that she is the one, while Yingying begins to wonder what her purpose is. As Su Mengxin comes out, all the men and women present try to have a chance with her, but Yingying tells Yifei that he should go and get something to eat as she wants to try to also have a chat with Mengxin. Then as Yifei walks to go and eat something, he goes to meet the Shangnan High bodyguards and invites them to have a drink later, and they accept as they believe they are brothers from the same troop. As Yifei sees that Yingying is having a conversation with Sun Dorgan, he watches closely and sees that Master's son has drugged the drink in his hand, and as he is about to give it to Yingying, he goes to meet her and tells her that someone is asking for her. Lin Jing flashes her flashlight at a woman and she becomes scared as she wants to investigate the number she had seen very discreetly, but the woman immediately throws her knife at Lin Jing and she immediately remembers that the woman was the one who attacked her earlier that day. The woman tells Lin Jing that her name is Sophie, then she asks Lin Jing for her name as well. Yifei asks her what is wrong with her and she explains to him and asks him how the small companies can pay them. She tells Wei Fui that she thinks she is going to work with Sun Nenghui. She tells him that women in that kind of business get into a lot of trouble and she begins to wonder why she was not born a man. Yifei tells her to follow him and she begins to use him as a shield again. They arrive at the ballroom and she introduces Yifei to her master as her boyfriend and hugs him so as to whisper words into his ears. She tells him to play along and begins to annoy her master. The master gets angry at her for trying to play her and tells her that he has checked about him and he is just her guard. He threatens to tell his father to buy her company and fire her since she is not afraid. He then tells her to drink from the glass and apologize in Yifei if he assures her that he is with her. She steps on his foot and pours the into his mouth and insults him. Meanwhile, Jing continues to battle with Twin Blade and notices she is slowing down as she will have to get close to hit her. She manages to pin her down on the floor and holds her. Yingying goes back to meet Yifei and he tells her that her bodyguard cannot protect her. She tells him that the drug he is taking effect and he informs her that women are his toys in this city and insults Mengxin. Suddenly, Mengxin appears behind him and tells the mayor that she was just walking around and she heard some interesting things. He begins to deny, but Yifei tells him that if he has forgotten, he will help him say all he has said. They begin to shout at him not to speak as he is a mere bodyguard. Su immediately permits him to speak and Yifei insults him and begins to mention all he said even regarding Miss Su. Su immediately tells them that the actions of their son has caused suspicion on their company but promises to see how everything plays out. Su then decides to follow Yingying as she would love to do investments with her. Yifei then gives him a very deadly blow and warns him never to touch his woman again. On his way back home, he encounters two of the young master's thugs and he beats them up and sends them back from where they came. On the other side, Jing continues to battle with twin blades and Jing uses another weapon making her run away. Half an hour later, the young master begins to think about what had happened and wonders how he was embarrassed in such a manner. He immediately notices how slow the drug is in effect and sees a dog. He notices it belongs to Ying and his heart begins to beat fast. He begins to come at the dog and begins to fight with the dog as it continues to bark. Suddenly his father begins to drive down and stops and sees his son in a very weird position with the dog and wonders what he is doing. At the city center, Ying wakes up and sees that they will soon be home. She tells him how stressful it is doing all she did and immediately remembers something and tells him to stop the car. She steps down from the car and Yifei begins to wonder where she is going. He follows her and she thanks him for all he did for her and Yifei tells her to relax judging from the stress she has been through. Yifei immediately sees a strange figure and suddenly disappears. She immediately tells him to follow her home and discuss the travel route as she is also called Director D. Fangqing begins to wonder if Mifei would expose her secret with him and as she gets to Ying and Yifei, Ying updates her that they would have a meeting with Su Mengxin, but she immediately goes to receive a call outside and she leaves Yifei and Fangqing alone to chat together. After Ying had left, Fangqing immediately goes to meet Yifei and asks him if he would expose her or he would keep the secret between them, but she suddenly notices that she is on top of him and suddenly, they hear Ying is about to come back inside the room. Yifei immediately poses as a chair and he makes Fangqing sit on his lap, but as Ying asked about Yifei, she immediately tells her that he had gone out to get a drink. Meanwhile, while looking under the table, Yifei becomes scared as he is looking directly into Ying's laps and Fangqing begins to feel that his lap is getting hard. At Story Park, the man with the broken nose goes to the restroom and as he checks himself in the mirror, he tells himself that he is not going to be a thief anymore but he is going to get his revenge at the two women who wrecked his beautiful nose, but as he gets outside, he sees Lin Jing who tells her team member that she has just finished patrolling the park. Mifei notices that it is when Ying is thinking that is when she opens her laps and he immediately tells Fangqing to help Ying to think so that she would also be comfortable on his laps. Then Fangqing immediately begins to answer the questions Ying is asking her, but Ying's pen suddenly falls down and Mifei begins to wonder what he would do so that Ying would not see him. He begins to think that if he comes out and gives her the pen, she would misunderstand him, but as she is about to take the pen, Fangqing immediately distracts her by throwing her own ring on the floor and she immediately yells at Ying that she should quit, help her to pick the ring. Ying tells Fangqing that she should not be so careless with her ring next time, but she suddenly hears the door and she asks Fangqing what it is, then she replies that it might be a mouse. Lin Jing immediately begins to chase the man with the broken nose and she calls him a pervert as she begins to whip him hard, but as she continues to chase him, she notices that he is running towards a female changing room. Then the man tells her that he would make her regret for wrecking his nose as he would invade the ladies' room and the girls' high school in order to have his revenge on her. Suddenly as the man is about to open the ladies' changing room, he gets hit by a whip on his face and he tells himself that he is lucky that his nose is big as he pretends to die. Then a lady tells the other ladies that their hideout has been discovered and they would have to go to another place to make it their base, but the leader tells them that the newest information shows that Su Mengxin would go to the Hulong temple the following day and their boss wants them to lure the golden eagle out and take him down. Ying arrives at the Hulong temple with MC Su and Yifei. Su sees how beautiful the environment is and asks Ying how she managed to find such a nice place. Yifei walks behind them and begins to admire their behinds and considers it as a very round view. She asks Ying if Yifei is her boyfriend as he was around yesterday too. Ying denies, telling her that Li Fang is only her bodyguard and he agrees to it. Meanwhile, an assassin has been observing them with a sniper weapon and plans to shoot down a golden eagle. Su is denied permission as her cover will be revealed. Suddenly, the detector indicates someone appearing towards her and she finds out it is not the golden eagle but a police officer. She informs her crew that the assassination squad will move first. Su sees a game at the temple and decides to try it out, seeing she might be lucky to win a gift. She tries it out and wins a gift and goes out to try out other activities in the temple. While walking, Su injures her ankle and Ying tells Yifei to protect her while she goes look for some bandages. Immediately she leaves. Yifei notices that her ankle is okay and notices something might be strange with her as she begins to seduce him. Back at the Hulong Temple forest, the assassin tries to take out the officer so that they can move on with their plans. She dodges the attacks and the rank 35 twin blades assassin admires how fast she is. The warriors begin to attack the officer after their leader has instructed them not to rush and she tells them to be careful as the officer is very fast and skilled. They throw star blades at her but she evades them all and considers to have gotten stronger after seeing how they have become. The leader of the mercenaries immediately informs her to bring out the golden eagle and begins to give her a history of how they are and how they are not to be messed with. The officer becomes surprised on hearing that they are the international hunting group but wonders what kind of eagle they are looking for as their country has no such eagle. Back with Yifei and Su, she tells him that it has been a long time since they sought each other and Yifei thanks her for not revealing his identity to Ying. She understands him but asks him why he is working with a tiny member. Yifei in reply tells her that he has been in the Flying Eagle Squad for 5 years and he has done a lot for his country. He also asks her what she is looking for in the old city. She tells him she is tired and her identity has been revealed and she cannot do the job anymore but only faces herself now. Su immediately asks him if he still smokes and he tells her that he is still like other men that like women and drinking. Su immediately hops at his back after he asks her if she is disappointed at him but instead she requests he carry her to see the view. 10 minutes later at Dragon Temple Hills, Yifei carries her to see the view and she tells him not to look back but he should also enjoy the view as she remembers a previous moment she once had with him. She reminds him of how he carried her across while they were being attacked on a mission and tells him that it was the first time in her life she was in real danger. She asked him if he knew what would have happened if she was captured but she was saved by him when they jumped into a river and he used her thorn clothes to deceive the men. Yifei tells her that it was an emergency but she tells him that she is thankful to him but the way he acts is so gutsy as he had guts to do that to her. She tells him that although she was safe and her location was revealed, her father took it out on many people and she heard he has retired, maybe he had been implicated. She informs her that that is not the reason why she retired and she should be rest assured. She becomes glad that he did not retire due to something she caused and asks him the main reason why he retired. Yifei tries to explain and notices a bullet coming towards him and dodges it. The assassin immediately orders her men to bring Su Mengxin over and tells Twin Blade not to be scared as she is certain that Golden Eagle will come find Su once they have her captured. While they were both discussing, she hears a shout from one of her men for help and looks into her sniper weapon only to discover that Yifei is gone. She begins to look for him and both begin to wonder if the bodyguard is a golden eagle. She shoots at him and notices he has dodged the attack and leaps towards him to kill him as he has suddenly appeared. She immediately remembers when she was having practice and remembers that Twin Blades have once informed her that she will soon meet the person who could dodge her bullet. She tells him that she will not give up and brings out a blade and attempts to strike Yifei but he uses his hands to block the attack and breaks her knife into 2. Yifei captures her and her team and begins to ask her who taught her how to kill and be naughty. She warns him to stop as even her parents have not spanked her before and she wonders why he is spanking her. He tells her that he is doing it on their behalf. She begins to feel good about it and wonders if that is what fatherly love feels like. She begins to beg him to punish her and he asks her who taught her to be naughty and goes to tie her up to a tree. He immediately notices some movement and informs Su that he would like to check it out and promises her that she is safe as there is no one around. He advises her to put on his jacket as she will be cold when he leaves but she informs him not to be bothered about her as she will be okay. She immediately remembers a memory when Nefe did that some time ago with her and gave her the exact same back view when they were both on a mission. At the other side, the police officer continues to evade the assassins and beat them up. The Twin Blade mercenary immediately uses her sword to cut her and Yifei sees what is happening from afar. She considers the officer to be a B level but pretty good to be able to block all her attacks. Jing notices that she is a level 8 and she is still not giving up and promises to get her arrested. The Twin Blade lady rushes at her planning to kill her and Jing notices she will not be able to block it seeing how quick it will be and she immediately hears Yifei telling her to step back. Jing immediately dodges the attack once more and she begins to wonder who is talking in the bushes. Jing looks back and notices it's Duifei from the other day and Yifei notices that she does not recognize him and decides to help her out seeing she is in trouble. Suddenly, a nun comes in and orders Twin Blade to leave telling her that she is needed by Bloodfox. Twin Blade leaves and the nun immediately removes her robes bringing out a chainsaw. Jing asks her why she took off her robes and to look at how badly she dressed but she informs Jing that she is not a nun as she only faked as one for the sake of the mission and rushes after Jing. Twin Blade immediately goes after Ying and he tries to hit her and immediately stops and notices that she is a woman. This makes her identify him as a golden eagle because he never hits women and she tries to attack him. She tries to use her sword to hit him but Yifei dodges her attacks and she immediately sits on his face making Yifei very surprised. 15 minutes later she becomes shy and Yifei introduces himself as a security guard and asks her who she is. She tells him not to change the subject as she is aware that he is a golden eagle and she is the guard captain of the Blood Fox assassination team and she has come to take his life. He tries to change the topic again but she warns him and tells her that she is aware that the golden eagle does not attack women. He tells her that he does not like to see women cry and that is why he does not like to kill them. She immediately notices him looking away and orders him to look at her and speak. Yifei immediately tells her that she has peed on herself and he could not look and she becomes surprised. Meanwhile, Jing still continues to evade attacks from the Red Widow and notices Twin Blades crying and running towards her. The Red Widow asks her what is wrong and notices that 2 against 1 will not be a fair fight and she decides to leave. Jing runs towards Yifei and asks him to teach her and be her master and he runs away because he does not want her to recognize him. Jing begins to wonder why he is running and goes after him. She sees that he is in a very weird position with Su and immediately goes to hit him, calling him a pervert. He immediately wonders why she hit him as he was only helping her to wear her heels and Jing immediately apologizes to him as she thought he was doing something else. Jing immediately sees the white shirt and informs him to stop and begins to question him. She tells him how familiar the white shirt is and asks him if he works in the same place as the mystery man and asks him if the mystery master is very intelligent. Yifei becomes absolutely surprised and begins to doubt her intelligence seeing she was not able to notice him. Su immediately answers on his behalf telling her that he is handsome and has passed by them. She tells Jing that he is a Chinese man and very popular with ladies. Jing begins to smile and tells her that he sounds just like her idol Leonardo. Yifei immediately misleads her and Jing immediately hurries to the Dragon Temple thinking she will see him there. She arrives at the temple and sees a man with white shirt and turns him. She sees that it is not the man she wanted to see and she sees a man who has been pretending to be a priest to scam people and she begins to pursue him. Su immediately asks him if he left her to save Jing and Yifei tells her that it was urgent. She tells him that it is fine as that is why she loves him and begins to wonder what she said. Ying immediately returns and asks him if he took care of Su and he responds positively telling her that she is the empress. While they begin to talk business, Blood Fox begins to observe him from the top of a hill and begins to ask Sweet Sniper and Twin Blade about him. They tell him that he is very strong and fast. Blood Fox then orders them to retreat and prepare for him. One of the members becomes happy as they have lured him out and tells them to allow him live for 2 more days. They all go back to give report to their master regarding Golden Eagle and Blood Wolf. Immediately comes out and places his sword on her neck while she was explaining the theory of Golden Eagle, not hitting women and asks her if she killed him. She tells him that he is not as weak as he thinks and their leader tells him that she passed her mission as they managed to lure him out. He then asks Blood Wolf how confident he is on taking him down and he tells his brother that Golden Eagle was his ex-team member and he has 100% confidence in killing him. Yifei begins to drive and the lady with him immediately tells him to look at the road because she notices him staring at her. Yifei begins to talk about her marriage life with her as they go to deliver documents to the headquarters. She fills him up on a secret and he promises not to reveal it to anyone forever. They arrive at their destination and he tells her that he will wait outside while she goes in to drop the documents. He immediately picks up his phone and calls Su and tells her to come pick him up as he has bad news about Xuanying and promises to talk in details when they meet. He immediately sees Su Wan and notices she is battling with her guard carrying her bags. She immediately sees Yifei and orders her to carry her stuff seeing he is very handsome. Yifei apologizes as he is only the branch's driver and he cannot help her. She threatens to get him fired and orders her security guard to talk to him. Biffy sees that it is one of his friends and allows her to leave so they can talk. He warns him about Wan and tells him not to get on her bad side while they carry her things and follow her. Yifei immediately stops and sees Director He being insulted by Wan. Wan insults her and asks her why she dares show up in front of her while Yifei and Wan stand watching. Suddenly, Chen comes in and Wan asks him why he is so slow and he apologizes to her and asks her why she is here. Wan asks him what he is doing there seeing that she was his former wife and she holds him by his tie. She immediately switches and tells him that she just came to deliver a piece of information and she must take a step back in advance. She then goes to tell Dee that she will be getting married to Chen next week and she immediately congratulates her. She also tells her that Chen licks her toes when they go to bed and asks her if she has ever enjoyed it. Wan continues to humiliate Director Dee and tells her to allow her to slap her and she will allow the director to stay in the office as before. The director refuses and Wan still ignores and begins to beat her up. Suddenly, Yifei puts on a mask to hide his identity and slaps Wan preventing her from hitting the director. Won calls for security after wondering if he is a superhero. The captain of the security comes in and pretends to kill him since he harassed their president. Yiffei beats them up, including the head of security, making him to apologize instantly after being bruised all over. He also gives Chen a punch for Missy and begins to spank Tuan for her bad behavior and leaves, and Won begins to admire his palm technique. Director D begins to laugh and wonder how he was able to. He tells her that he got the mask from what he used to carry her belongings, and she sees the mask to be so funny and begins to laugh. She begins to cry and thanks him, seeing she is finally free, and places the mask on his head and tells him she wants to repay him for saving her and begins to kiss him. The second day, Yiffei arrives at the Wulong residence and admires the luxurious cars. He has and begins to focus and remembers that Su informed him to look for her there. He enters and sees that it is a banquet and begins to feel bad as he did not prepare or wear something nice. He suddenly sees a table filled with food and plans to look for her after his belly is filled up. While eating, he sees Song Lianya with Xin Yu, and she asks him if he came for the banquet, seeing he is dressed funny, and asks him to have a drink with her since she is also waiting for someone. Everyone begins to talk about him not putting on a formal dress and begins to wonder who he is. Su Wan immediately arrives and wonders how he was able to get to the banquet, but he tells her that he came in looking for food, which makes the ladies consider him to be hilarious. Meanwhile, outside the residence, Ms. Song arrives and asks if Xin Yu and Lianya are present, and he is given an affirmative answer. He enters the banquet planning to tame the two girls. Song goes in the banquet and Wan sees him and plans to discuss the Hoyong company, but he pushes her away and ignores her. He goes over to her and he sees her discussing with Yiffei and drags her to his side. He asks them why they rejected his invitation, and Wan immediately senses that there will be a scene and begins to wonder what Yiffei will do. He drags her and tells her to come with him, but she refuses, and Yiffei immediately grabs hold of his hand and informs him to let her go. Song begins to hear comments from the guests and becomes angry as he sees the girls give more attention to Yiffei instead of him. He attacks Yiffei due to jealousy, but Yiffei holds his hands and asks him if he started it. He threatens Yiffei with his status, but Yiffei insults him, telling him that the military raised a failure like him. Song becomes angry and tries to attack him. Suddenly, the head manager comes in, wondering who is making so much noise. Song tells the manager about how Yiffei is improperly dressed, making the manager inform him to leave the banquet. Xinchu also tries to eject Song from the ballroom, but the manager informs her that they are friends. Yiffei immediately tells them that he is not a guest of the evening, and they begin to wonder how he snuck in and begin to tell him to leave. Wan begins to wonder what Yiffei will do since he is being kicked out of the ballroom. Yiffei tells them that he might not be a guest, but he is friends with the owner of the ballroom and she has invited him over. The manager tells him that the boss never notified him that he was coming, making Yiffei wonder if Su Mengchun is really the boss of the event. Everyone in the ballroom begins to mock him, calling him a loser and telling him to leave the ballroom, and wonder how the two celebrities will hang out with people like him.